Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I really enjoyed that conversation with Clint Dunn. What a special family. What a great leader in this state. I mean, one of the cool things about doing this job is the opportunity to be able to get to know people from all across the state. So if you've got suggestions on people who can join us, drop us a note and let us know. We'll dive into it for sure. This next guest is someone I've been really looking forward to talking to. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the way he described himself, just a Yankee who moved to Mississippi, fell in love, and won't shut up about it. He's got a great social media channel. Robert St. John, the famed, I would say, restaurateur, chef, book writer. He's a jack of all trades. Actually posted that every Mississippian should follow Brett Kenyon. And when I think about your name, Brett Kenyon, I think about maybe the World Wrestling Federation, Brett Kenyon. It has just such a interesting, ring to it. But anyway, welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show, my friend.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.
So where are you from originally?
So that is the question. I am from all over the place. I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's typically what I give as my origin story. But my family moved all over the place. We lived in Miami, Florida for a little while. North Carolina we were there for a long time, both the coast and the mountains. Moved to Greenville, South Carolina, and then eventually I came down here to go to college. And now Mississippi is where I've spent over half my life.
Wow, that's interesting. Listen, when I was working, I commuted weekly to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, every single week for 6 months, and then to Miami for a year and a half. And during that time, I spent time in South Carolina, where we own newspapers there, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, other parts of South Carolina, and North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. Spent a lot of time there. In fact, I watched the Charlotte Stadium getting built from the window of the cafeteria of the Charlotte Observer. So, yeah, I've been to a lot of those places that you've been.
Yeah.
I always wanted my base station here in Mississippi, and now you understand why, don't you?
I absolutely do. My introduction to Mississippi came from my uncle, who was a professor over at Belhaven College, or now Belhaven University. And I had always heard stories from his sons, who were my best friends growing up, my cousins. They just raved about how much they loved being here in Mississippi. And I've never experienced it, had no idea what to expect. They finally talked me into coming down. And then they sweetened the deal by offering me free room and board if I wanted to transfer down to Belhaven University. So I said, you know what, that's a pretty good deal. I'm going to take it. And it wound up being probably the best decision I ever made in my life. Coming from Pennsylvania and North Carolina and all these other places, it was the thing about hearing about Mississippi was. One, you just didn't hear about it very much. It was people just didn't really talk about Mississippi. It was kind of it wasn't even a flyover state. It was just a don't talk about it state. And then when you did hear about it, usually it was just the negative stereotypes. People aren't wearing shoes down here, or nobody knows how to read. And I figured there was probably some malice behind that. I never quite bought into it, but I never knew what to expect until I got here. And, I think the very first experience I remember was I arrived at night, stepped outside the next morning. It was August. I thought I had walked into a brick wall because I was not ready for the humidity. But every single person that I met within that first week being here, it just solidified in my heart. I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is just magic.
Listen, I can give you a lot of examples, Brad, but I do this second half of my shows on Wednesday. It's called Singing River Health Talk. It's Singing River Health Systems down here in coastal Mississippi. And I get the opportunity to talk to an incredible array of professionals, doctors and others who are working for Singing River Health System. And the doctors come from all over the world, some through Keesler Air Force Base. Some, I had a doctor, just this week that came from Pakistan to Arizona, came to Ocean Springs, fell in love. But you hear it over and over again. So from that perspective, professional people who come here, who fall in love and stay. The other is that when we have disasters like Hurricane Katrina or the tornadoes or whatever it might be, people come in from all over the country, and they often leave here saying they got more from the visit than they gave, that what they learned about Mississippi blew up any preconceived notions that they had, that, this preconceived thing that you just mentioned that we don't deserve is often dispelled quickly when they see what is in the heart and soul of Mississippians. But it's true, isn't it?
It is so true. I don't know why I guess, they say that a lie can what is it? They say a lie goes around the world 5 times before the truth is out of bed. People are so quick to jump on a negative stereotype or just something to complain about. But you're absolutely right. Every person that I've met that's come in from out of town, that's a professional, just comes in for business, they get here and you can just see their eyes popping out of their head because they can't believe how nice it actually is. They see the coast. Oh boy, the food alone is one of our best envoys to the world. They get here and they just cannot believe the amount of choices we have, the quality of the food. It's one of the love languages of Mississippi, and people pick up on that fast.
Well, I enjoy doing a little research about you and watching some of your short videos and your reels, and really, perceiving in you someone who does love Mississippi and wants to tell it from so many different perspectives. And what's interesting about your story, it reminds us of the time we spent with Josh Morgan, who's one of the top hurricane chasers in the world. In fact, he's been in more eyes of hurricanes than anyone alive today. If there was a book Guinness Book of World Record, he would own it. He lives now in Bay St. Louis, but he used to live in L.A., and he has a company called Symblaze. This is a marketing company, and his partner's in L.A. He's down here, and he's able to do a lot of his work remotely, and he's leveraged his knowledge, his incredible deep knowledge of marketing, to really put his hurricane chasers side of him on steroids. So, you have a marketing background. That's what you do in your day job, is marketing. And you've just utilized those skill sets to be able to take your really cool personality and assign it to telling these great stories about Mississippi. It's kind of a match made in heaven, isn't it?
It's really interesting that you say that. That is, it has worked out really well in that way. In fact, in some ways, I feel like a lot of my career was in marketing was leading to this point, because I feel like in the past, when you're working in marketing, you're getting paid to promote a business. You're getting paid to promote an outlet, an idea. But this has been the first time where I've been able to say, I'm going to take what I've learned from using brand voices, and I'm going to apply it to my voice, to something that I truly care about. And I think being just Mississippi advocacy is the way that I would describe it. And I think and some people see the amount that I post and they assume that it must be a full-time job. Some folks have even commented, it's social media, that must be the new career now. And I'm like, no, not really. It'll cover the phone bill, but it doesn't do a whole lot more than that. It's a labor of love. And, I got into it because I wanted my kids to be proud of where they're from. I wanted to dispel the rumors, because I did not like some of the bullying I was seeing from folks out of state. And I wanted to see the pride in Mississippi, where we've been, where we're going, just emanate from everybody, because it is such a hidden gem. And I feel like I want the world to know about it, but I don't necessarily want them all coming here to change it.
Well, listen, what's interesting about your story and what you just said is that it is a labor of love for you, just as this show is a labor of love for me. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting about it is, in your day job, which you serve as marketing director for multiple companies, what it enables you to do is kind of stay up on what's happening and across all these social platforms, because algorithms are constantly changing and rules are constantly changing and opportunities, are being created and some opportunities going away. In order to stay on top of that from a marketing perspective, what you're learning by doing this labor of love, which is presenting this wonderful picture of Mississippi, is just great way of kind of feeding into your day job, isn't it?
It is. It has worked so well together because, exactly like you said, it's for my job. I have to stay up on all the different trends, and boy, you hit the nail on the head about how quickly the algorithms are constantly changing. And you wake up one day and suddenly there's a word that you've used your entire life that is gets your videos hidden. And it's not even, there's some things that are obvious. There's a lot of 4-letter words that you know not to say, but then you find out that there's certain topics that maybe one network is trying to hide.
Let's do this, Brett. When we come back on the other side, we're going to tell people a little bit more about your platform, what you're doing, and what social media platforms you're on. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. He describes himself as just a Yankee who moved to Mississippi, fell in love, and won't shut up about it. His name is Brett Kenyon. I think that sounds like a World Wrestling Federation wrestler. Brett Kenyon! I just love that name. That's such a cool name. Anyway, yeah, Brett, you've got a great platform. So let's spend a little time now just talking about your platform and what you're doing. Sure. And how do you, because every now and then you do a serious topic. Most of the time you're just, letting people get to know Mississippi better, but talk about your platform.
Sure. Well, the main platform is just a Mississippi advocacy. I want folks to know what we have to offer, how Mississippi is helping the world move forward despite some of the negative stereotypes that we have, some of the incredible just inventions and innovations and history that's come out of the state and continues to come out of the state. I mean, we're leading the frontier on everything from autonomous flight to space flight to medical breakthroughs, literacy. I mean, we're on top of the game, and I don't think nearly enough people give the state credit for that. So the main thing is I want to push that narrative and just let folks know that we're working a little harder than they give us credit for down here. The other side is, I've grown up surrounded by storytellers, and I love stories. Everything in my life eventually comes back to stories. And Mississippi history has so many just beautiful stories, unbelievable stories, from straight history to some of our almost legends and mythology in a way, to urban legends. We have so much to offer. So most of what my platform is split between those two things. It's our history, or it's just bragging about the state. And occasionally there will be a more serious topic that works its way in there. I try not to spend a whole lot of time on that, but there are times I feel like when you have a platform and you have a voice and there's something that you see impacting your neighbors, there's sometimes I feel like there's a duty to speak up on some of those issues. And I try to tell people how they,
go ahead. Yeah. Tell people how they can find you.
Oh yeah. Great. So I'm on TikTok is where I got started. You can find me on there as Papa Mississippi. I'm on Instagram as well. Also as Papa Mississippi. I have a Facebook page by the same name, but most of the stuff that I post on Facebook is just under my name, Brett Kenyon. So folks have found me in each of those different ways, and I'm sure as new platforms pop up, I'll probably pop up there too.
What's interesting to me, again, I had the opportunity to kind of dive in a little bit, but like, for example, when you came down and went to Ship Island and you talk about, Ship Island's got the most beautiful white sand you ever want to see, but in certain areas you see where there's a black tint to it. And you told the story of the Appalachian Mountains and why that is, and why the sand sparkles the way it does. I love it because, it's a fresh set of eyes. These things that we take for granted, maybe we learn these stories along the way, but you forget about it when you're here and when you see it all the time. It's bringing that fresh set of eyes is pretty cool, isn't it?
It is, and I think just kind of taking a sense of wonder and curiosity to it, and I was a little hesitant at first because I assumed everybody's got to know these things. I'm the last one to figure it out. But there's a new generation that's coming up that hasn't heard all the stories yet, and they're finding them on social media. So glad to be that, and people like hearing the familiar old favorites too.
Yeah. Well, look, when you start diving into Mississippi being the birthplace to American music, and you understand the role of rock and roll and country music, and especially the blues, and people like Robert Johnson, and how he influenced, a wide range of, artists from around the world, especially sort of the European, British blues, influence. When you start to really appreciate that, gosh, man, it grounds you in what Mississippi has done for the world. It's unbelievable, really, isn't it?
It is. Like I said, storytelling has always been a huge just core of my life. And Mississippi, through its history and through its music, I feel like that's the ultimate storytelling right there. And that gift to the world is priceless.
Is it priceless, man? So as you think ahead on what you're thinking about exploring, what's coming up for you? What are some of the things you're going to be working on?
I get messages constantly from folks. That's where I find most of my stories now. Is I'll do a story about Ship Island, and then somebody will send me a note and say, "Hey, there's an ice cream shop near there that has a live sloth." True story, by the way. And I hear that and I go, "All right, that goes top of the list. That's the next story." Gas station that set up all the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics from the 80s down on the coast. These are the treasures I'm out there searching for. So anybody ever has a good story, send it my way.
We got less than a minute left. So how many total followers do you have now?
I believe I've just hit 150,000. So when you combine the different platforms together.
Well, congratulations on that success, and continue to tell the great story. In fact, the next time we come together, we'll dive into some of the stories, and we'll ask you to maybe pick your top 10 or something like that, and we'll dive into them. Does that sound good?
That sounds like an awesome afternoon.
You bet. This has been digital creator, a great, better say, content creator on multiple digital platforms, Brett Kenyon. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you, Brett.
Thank you much. It's been an honor.
You bet. Listen, have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.